Hi everybody, welcome to GTCoding. In this tutorial series, we are converting this Figma design into a real website using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Now in the previous video, I showed you how to write the HTML of our design. Now in this video, we will start writing the CSS. So we will style this header section in this video. Let's get started. Alright, this is our progress as of now. We can see that we have written the HTML of our website. And we have also linked our CSS file over here. So let's go to our style.css file and let's start styling this. Now we have already created some variables for the colors. Now the first thing we will do is that we will set the box sizing to border box for all the elements. So I'll just tap asterisk to select all the elements, and I'll also select the after and the before selectors. So just tap asterisk colon after and asterisk colon before. And here we'll just tap box sizing and set it to border box. Now when you add this line of code box sizing border box, it will include the padding and the border of the element inside the width and the height of the element. So we won't have to calculate the width and the height of the element after the padding and the border is added. Alright, now let's remove the default margin that we have in the body. So I'll just tap body and I'll just set the margin to 0. And by default we will set the font family to Poppins. So I'll just tap Poppins and sans serif. Now let's go to our design, and here you can see the font has changed, and also we don't have any margin for the body. Alright, now the next thing we will do is style these buttons. So let's go back to our CSS, and here we'll just add the selector of the button. So if you go to the HTML, we can see that for the button we have a class of btn, and we have two types of buttons. We have a dark button with a class of dark, and we also have a light button with a class of light. So here we can see we have the light button. So let's target the btn class. So I'll just tap .btn. Alright, now let's go to our Figma file and let's double click on this button. And here we can see the properties of the button. So if we go over here to this tab called inspect, and if we scroll down, we can see that we have the CSS displayed over here. So let's copy some of the CSS that we need. So what we need from this are the padding and the border radius. So you can just copy this from here, or I'll just go back to our CSS and I'll just type it over here. So I'll just tap padding, and we have a padding of 16 pixels and 32 pixels. So I'll just tap 16 and 32, and we have a border radius of 24 pixels. So I'll just tap border radius 24 pixels. And for the button we have a text color of white. So let's set the text color to white. Now this button is basically an anchor tag. So here we can see this is an anchor tag. Now anchor tags are inline elements by default. Now when you have an inline element, there can be problems with the padding and the margin of the element. So I'll just set the display to inline block. And let's go back to our Figma file, and if we double click over here in this text, we can see that the properties of the text are displayed over here. So we have the font size set to 18 pixels. We have the font weight set to bold. So let's copy these and let's paste it over here. Now the next thing we will do is we will style the dark and the light buttons. So for the light button we need to have an orange color. So here we can see this is the light button, and for the dark button we need to have this dark blue color. So let's go back, and here we'll just type btn.dark, and make sure that you don't have any space between these two classes, because we're gonna have these two classes in the same element. Right, let's set the background color of this button to a variable that we created. So if you scroll up, we can see that we have created this variable called dark blue color. So we're going to add this color to the button. So here I'll just tap var, and here I'll just tap dark blue color. And for the light button, let's add the orange color. So I'll just tap btn.light. And for the orange color, we have a variable called orange color. So let's add this over here. So I'll just tap background and var orange color. Alright, now let's go to Chrome and let's see how it looks. So here we can see we have the buttons, and the colors are being displayed over here. Now we also want to remove these underlines from the buttons. So here I'll just type text decoration and set it to none. Now the next thing we will do is we need to add an icon for this button. So if you go back to our Figma file, we can see that for this button we have this icon. So for that, let's go to our code, and let's go to the HTML, and let's go to the button. So this is the button, enroll now. Now here in this button, I'll just add a class called enroll icon. And let's save this and let's go back to our style.css file. And now let's style the enroll icon button. So let's type btn.enroll icon. And we're going to use a before selector for adding the icon. So I'll just type : before. And here I'll just type content. And here in the content, I'll just add the link of the enroll icon. So here in the images, we have this SVG called enroll-icon.svg. So I'll just type URL, and here I'll just provide the link. So I'll just type images /enroll-now-icon.svg. And now if you go back to our Chrome, we can see that the icon is displayed over here. Now we want this icon to be displayed in the center vertically. So for that, let's position this before selector relative to this button. So for that, let's go back to our button, and here I'll just type position relative, and here for the before selector, let's set the position to absolute. Now this before selector will be positioned relative to this button. Alright, now let's set the top position to 50%, and let's set the left position to 32 pixels. And now if we go back to our Chrome, we can see that the icon starts from the 50% mark. So we also have to move it 50% of itself to the top. So I'll just tap transform, translate Y, and set it to -50%. And now we can see that the icon and the text are in the same place. So let's add some padding left to this button. So let's go back, and here I'll just type btn.enroll icon, and let's set the padding left to 60 pixels. And now we can see that it looks alright. Alright, that's it with the button. So everywhere we can see that the button is being styled. So here I'll just add a comment. I'll just type buttons. And now the next thing we will do is we will style the wrapper. So if we go back to our HTML, we can see that we have added this division with the class of wrapper. Now we are using this to add a maximum width to our elements. So if we go back to our Figma file, we can see that we have a maximum width set for the contents of this header. So I'll just double click over here, and here on the right we can see we have a width of 1134 pixels. So this is going to be the max width of our wrapper. So let's go back, and let's go to our style.css file, and I'll just add the styles for the wrapper over here just after the body. So I'll just type .wrapper, and let's set a max width of 1134 pixels. And we also need to bring it to the center, so I'll just tap margin 0 for top and bottom, and auto for left and right. Now if we go back to our Chrome, we can see that we have a max width. Let's add a background color, and let's see whether it is being applied. So here we can see we have a max width of 1134 pixels, and also the wrapper is in the center. So let's go back and let's remove this background color. Alright, now the next thing we will style is the header element. So if we go back to our HTML, we can see that we have created this header element over here. So let's go over here to our style.css file, and here I'll just add a comment. So I'll just type header, and here we'll just type header, and let's go back to our Figma file, and first of all let's select this background rectangle, and if you go over here to inspect and scroll down, we can see that the CSS is displayed over here. So I'll just copy this background color. So I'll just copy it from here. So let's go back to our CSS, and I'll just paste it over here. And we need to set the height of this header to 100 viewport height, which is 100% width of the browser window. And let's set the width to 100%. Right now let's go back to our website, and here we can see we have this linear gradient background color added. Alright, now the next thing we will do is style this nav. So if we go back to our HTML, we can see that we have created this nav element, and in that we have the logo and the UL for the menu items. So let's go back to our style.css file, and let's style the nav. So I'll just type nav. Now we want the elements of the nav to be displayed one next to the other. So right now we can see that the logo is at the top and we have the menu items at the bottom. Now we want the logo to be on the left and the menu items to be on the right. So here we'll just set the display to flex, and justify content to space between. So now if we go back to our design, we can see that the logo is at the left and we have all these menu items at the right. Now the next thing we will do is style this logo. So let's go back, and for the logo we have a class of logo. So let's style this, So I'll just type nav logo, and let's go to our Figma file and let's see what are the properties. So let's double click over here in the logo, and if you go to inspect and scroll down, we can see these are the properties for the logo. So we need to set the color to white, we need to set the font size to 40 and the font weight to 900, and also the font family to railway. So I'll just copy all of this from here, and let's go back to our CSS, and I'll just paste it over here. Now here for the railway we'll also add a backup font. So here I'll just type sans serif, and we don't need to have this font style, so I'll just delete this line of code. And we also don't need to have this line height, so I'll just delete this and also this comment. Alright, let's go back to our Chrome, and here we can see that the logo is styled correctly. Now the next thing we will do is style these list items inside the UL. Now we want all these menu items to be displayed one next to the other. So for that, let's go back to our CSS and let's target the unordered list inside the nav. So here we can see we have this UL inside the nav. So here I'll just tap nav UL, and let's set the display to flex so that the elements will be one next to the other. Now we need to align them to the center, so I'll just tap align items to the center. And let's go back to our Figma file and let's see what is the spacing that we need to have. So let's double click over here, and here we can see we have a spacing of 60 pixels. So let's go back to our CSS, and here I'll just type gap and set it to 60 pixels. Now if you go back to our Chrome, we can see we have these menu items displayed over here, and we'll also remove these bullets from here. So let's go back and let's type list style and set it to none. Now the next thing we will do is style these menu items. So let's go back, and for the menu items we have anchor tags. So here we'll just type nav ul li a, and let's go back to our Figma file, and let's double click over here, and here we can see in the inspect we have the CSS. So let's copy some of this from here. I'll just copy everything and we'll just delete things that we don't want. Let's go back to our CSS and I'll just paste it over here, and we don't need to have the line height, and we also don't need to have the font style. And here for pop-ins we will add a fallback font, so just type sans serif. And we also need to remove these underlines, so I'll just type text decoration and set it to none. Now here we can see for the UL we have some default margin at the top. So let's go back to our CSS and let's go to the UL, and here I'll just type margin and set it to 0. And now we can see we don't have any margins, and we'll also center align this logo vertically. So let's go back and let's go to the nav, and here let's type align items to the center, and now we can see everything looks alright. Now the next thing we will do is we will set this nav element to fixed. So when we scroll up or down, it should always be positioned at the same place. So for that, let's go back, and here I'll just type position and set it to fixed. And now we can see that the width has changed. So for that we have to set the width back to 1134 pixels, and from the top we will have a spacing of let's say 36 pixels. So I'll just tap top 36 pixels. Alright, now we can see when we scroll down the nav element stays there, and we'll also set the z index of the nav to something higher, because we can see when we scroll down the nav is below the other elements. So let's set a z index. So I'll just type z index, and let's set it to 100, and now we can see it is above all the other elements. Alright, now let's start styling this hero section. So let's go back to our VS Code, and let's create a comment. So I'll just type hero section, and let's go back to our index.html file, and for the hero section we have a division with the class of hero section. So here we'll just type hero section, and let's set the display to flex so that the elements will be one next to the other. So we want the left division to be on the left and the right to be on the right. And we'll also set the height to 100 viewport height and the width to 100%. And we'll also bring it to the center vertically. So I'll just type align items to the center. And we'll also type justify content to space between, so that both the left and the right divisions are on the extreme left and right. Now let's go back to Chrome, and here we can see our elements are displayed over here. For now we'll just hide these achievement cards. So let's go back, and for the achievement cards we have a class of achievement cards. So let's target this. Here let's type achievement cards, and here let's type achievement cards, and let's set the display to none. We will style it later. Alright, now let's style this heading. So here I'll just type hero section, and for the left part we have a division with a class of left. So let's target that. I'll just type left, and in that we have the h1 for the heading. So let's type h1. Alright, now let's go to our Figma file, and let's double click over here on this heading, and let's go to inspect and scroll down, and here we can see the CSS for the heading. So let's copy all of this and let's paste it over here in the CSS, and let's remove this font style, and let's also remove this comment, and here we'll also add sans serif. So I'll just type comma and add sans serif over here. Let's go back to our design, and here we can see this is how our heading looks. We'll also remove the margin bottom from here. So here I'll just type margin bottom, and let's set it to 0. Alright, now the next thing we will do is style this paragraph. So let's go back to our Figma file, and for the paragraph we have these styles over here. So let's copy all of this, and let's go back, and let's go to our VS Code, and here we'll just type hero section left P, and let's paste the CSS over here, and I'll just add sans serif over here, and I'll just remove this font style, and we'll also set the color of the text to white. Now the next thing we will do is we will set a fixed width for this left division. So if you go back to our Figma file, we can see we have a width of here we can see 457 pixels, and even for the heading we have 457 pixels of width. So let's go back and let's add a width to the left division. So here let's type hero section left, and let's set the width to 457 pixels. Right now let's add some margin between this button and this paragraph. So here for this paragraph I'll just type margin bottom, and we'll just set it to 30 pixels. And I feel that the font size of these buttons are a bit too large. So let's go to our VS Code, and let's go to the styles for the button, and let's set the font size to 16 pixels. Let's go back. I think this looks alright. Now we'll also add a little bit of padding top for this hero section, because we have this navigation menu over here. So that's why this content doesn't look like it is in the center. So let's go back, and for the hero section, let's add a padding top, and let's set it to, let's try 60 pixels. I think that looks alright. Alright, now let's style this image. So let's go back to our Figma file, and for the image we have a height of 582 pixels. So let's add this and let's see how it looks. So let's copy this from here, and let's go to our VS Code, and here in the HTML we can see for the image we simply have an image inside the right division. So here I'll just type hero section right img, and let's paste the height over here, and let's go back to our Chrome, and I think we need to decrease the height a little bit, because in the browser we also have this address bar, we also have this tab, and all of this take up some space, so we don't have the full height of the screen. Now in our Figma file we had designed it with the full height and width of the screen in mind, so we have to make some changes to the height of the elements in the real website. So let's go back and let's change the height to, let's try 520 pixels, and I think that looks alright. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to position this image at the bottom. So right now it is at the center. So let's go back and let's target the right division. So here just type hero section right, and here we need to type align self, so it will align itself, and here we need to type flex end, which will align itself to the end. And we can see we still have a little bit of gap over here at the bottom. So for that we have to go over here to the image, and we have to add a line of code which is vertical align and set it to middle. And now we can see everything looks alright. Right now the next thing we will do is style the achievement cards. So let's go back and let's remove this line of code. And we need to position these achievement cards relative to the hero section. Now we need to set the position of the achievement card to absolute. So if you go back to our HTML, we can see for the achievement card we have this division with the class of achievement card. So let's style that. Here I'll just type achievement card, and I think we can delete this for now. Alright, for the achievement card we will set the position to absolute. Now in the achievement card we have this division with the class of content. So in the content we have this heading and this paragraph. So let's style the content. So here I'll just type achievement card content, and let's go back to our Figma file, and here we can see for the background color we have a white color, and we also have a border radius of 24 pixels. So let's add these styles. Here I'll just type border radius 24 pixels and background color of white. We'll also add a padding of 8 pixels top and bottom and 32 pixels left and right. Here we can see our achievement card is displayed over here on the right. Now let's position these achievement cards over here on the left. So here for the first one we have a class of students enrolled. So let's target that. I'll just type achievement card dot students enrolled, and we'll set the left position to 47%, and we'll set the top position to 330 pixels. And here we can see the students enrolled achievement card is displayed over here. Now let's style the heading of this achievement card. So here I'll just type achievement card, and for the heading we have an S3. So let's type S3, and for this let's go back and let's see what are the styles. So let's double click over here, and here in the inspect let's scroll down, and let's copy these styles. So let's copy all of this, and let's go back and paste it over here, and we'll just remove the font style and the line height and this comment, and let's add sans serif over here. And for the color we will change this to our variable. So we have a variable called dark blue color, so I'll just type var dark blue color. And let's go back to Chrome, and we need to remove the margins. So here I'll just type margin 0, and we'll text align it to the center. And now let's style this paragraph. So we have a paragraph over here. So let's type achievement card P, and let's go back to our Figma file, and let's copy all of this, and let's paste it over here, and let's remove all of this, the line height and the font style, and we'll change this to sans serif, and we'll change the color to the dark variable, so var dark blue color. We'll also decrease the margin top over here, so we will add a negative margin. So just tap margin top, and let's set it to negative 8 pixels, and for margin bottom we will have 8 pixels. Now let's style the background rectangle for this achievement card. So if you go back to our Figma file, we can see we have this rectangle over here. So let's go back, and if you go back to our HTML, for that we have a division with the class of BG. So let's style that. So here I'll just type achievement card BG. Now we need to position this relative to the achievement card. So I'll just type position absolute, and let's set the height and the width to 100% of the achievement card. And we also need to have a linear gradient background. So let's select this, and let's copy this color, and we'll also copy this border radius. So let's copy these 2 lines of code, and let's paste it over here. And now we need to move this a little bit to the right and to the bottom. So let's go back. So here I'll just tap top, and I'll just set it to 8 pixels, and left, and I'll just set it to 8 pixels as well. Let's go back to Chrome, and we need to add some z index over here. So for this background BG, we will add a z index of 1, and for the content I'll just add a z index of, let's say, 10, and we'll also need to add a position over here. So I'll just have position relative, because we have a position of absolute over here, so we need to add some position over here for the z index to work. And now we can see that it is being displayed correctly. Alright, now let's position this achievement card. So for that we have a class of overall rating, so I'll just type achievement card dot overall rating, and let's set the left position to 45%, and I'll just set the top position to 520 pixels. Let's see how it looks. And we also need to style this star image, so let's go back, and in the HTML we can see that we have a division, and in that we have the S3 and the image. So let's style this division. So here I'll just type achievement card content div, and we'll set the display to flex so that the elements will be one next to the other, and we'll also align items to the center, and we'll have a gap of 12 pixels. And now we can see this heading is not in the center, so let's right click over here and click on inspect, and let's see what's the problem. So here for the S3 we don't have the full width, so let's add a width of 100% and let's see whether it works. And we can see it works, so let's do that. Let's go back to our VS Code, and here for the S3 I'll just tap width of 100%. And now we need to move this image to the right a little bit. So for that we will increase the width of the left division, and let's go back, and here we can see for the left division we had added a width of 457 pixels. So I'll just remove this from here, and let's add this to the paragraph. And here for the left I'll just set the flex to 1 so that it takes up all the space that it can. And now we can see it looks alright. Let's also reposition these two achievement cards. So let's right click over here and click on inspect, and let's play with the left and the top values. So let's select the first achievement card, and I think we can decrease the top value a little bit. We can also increase the left value a little bit, and I think this looks alright. So let's copy these two lines of code, and let's paste it in the students enrolled achievement card. So it is right here, and for the next one let's select it, and let's decrease the top value. I think this looks alright, and let's increase the left value. So I think this looks alright. We'll also add some minimum width for these achievement cards. So I'll just type min width, and let's start with 200 pixels. Right, that looks alright. So let's add these 3 lines of code, and let's paste it over here in the second one. And I'll just remove this line of code and paste it over here in the achievement card. And that looks alright. So that's basically it with the hero section of our website. Alright, that's it for this video. If you have any doubts, you can ask in the comments below. And if you like this video, please click on the like button and subscribe to this channel to get the latest video updates. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a nice day.